Welcome back. This week I've got another craft show display item, and I think you'll like it. Come take a look. Every year my wife and I design another Christmas card, and I put a poem on the inside. Well, we've been doing it for so long that designs were starting to pile up, and it was time to build some type of display to show them off at a craft show. Take a look at how I built it. I needed to cut this hardboard down to 20 by 17, and I didn't want to use my circular saw because I thought the table saw would be a quicker and squarer cut. This really isn't ideal. In fact, the whole process made me realize I need to invest some time into building a decent sized crosscut sled. With so much material to the left of the blade, it can be difficult to evenly push the piece through. I wanted to round off the top of the hardboard to make it more interesting, so I used a thin strip of wood to bend the curve and sketch it out. You could do this with a large compass, but by using a bent piece of wood you actually get a parabolic curve as opposed to the part of the circle that a compass would make. This is supposed to be more pleasing to the eye, kind of like the difference between a circular table and an elliptical one. A small bandsaw isn't going to leave a clean cut, so it's to the belt sander I go to smooth it out. I turn the piece around halfway through to try and even it out. Now it's time to make the racks for the cards, and I'm using recycled wood that came from my old window jams. I needed to clean up one edge before ripping the boards down to thinner strips. I don't want the racks to be overly clunky, so next I use my table saw to resaw the material down to about ½ inch thick. I think this looks a lot better than 3/4. With the blade just a little higher than half the board, I can do this in 2 passes, flipping the board in between. I was pleasantly surprised at how little sanding was needed after this. These pieces will be the dividers, and after cutting them at the miter saw, I wanted to cut a curve at the top. You could do a quarter circle, but I think a hand-sketched curve looks better. There's something about a circle that isn't interesting to the eye. I think it's the constant bend instead of a changing curve. And of course, this too needs to be cleaned up at the belt sander. I'm using a Forstner bit to drill partway and make a place for the dowel. A couple of clamped boards act as a jig for placement. With all the pieces cut to size and shape, it's time to round it over at the router table. A little bit of glue, and the racks are ready for some brads. I got the design for these corner clamps from Izzy Swan. You should check him out if you haven't already. He was the first YouTuber I ever subscribed to. Well, that's going to do it for this project. After screwing the shelves on, I cut a triangular piece of wood that turns it into a stand. Pretty happy with how this turned out, and I think it'll work great at the craft show in a couple of weeks. If you enjoyed this project, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Have a great weekend, and as always, get out there and make some sawdust. Beneath the stars and under the moon waits a family of bears, for Christmas is soon. Watching the northern lights, they roll and they play, wondering if Santa will visit today. For bears don't keep time, not like humans do, and up this far north, days are mostly dark too. But do not have fear, there's no need to worry, for their families together, they're warm and they're furry. Merry early Christmas season!